Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to episode number 8 of our TW 2020 PWG Guerrilla Warfare series. Today we are here with All-Star Weekend number 15, night 1 and night 2, all in one big jumbo episode for you. Last time out, we held Lost in the World, of course a reference to the 2010 Kanye West song. And on that show, we saw Alex Shelley tap out Lee Moriarty, who I've been told apparently I keep pronouncing his name wrong. Whoopsie daisy. Jeff Cobb then beat Danny Limelight. ACH beat Andy Brown, a bad night for the California boys. Black Taurus, Flamita and Laredo Kid beat Alex Zane, Ben Carter and Blake Christian. Chris Dickinson picked up a victory over Daniel Maccabee. Fred Yehai and Tony Deppen defeated the tag team of Brody King and Chris Hero, who are of course frenemies. And then in your main event, Bandito retained his World's Heavyweight Championship, pinning Desmond Xavier of the Rascals in a match that I remember expecting a lot more from. Why is Bandito's picture not there? Bandito does have a picture set, doesn't he? He does! So that's just a weird inconvenience. We jump into the night show, night 1 of All-Star Weekend 15 of course, and in front of 568 people at the Globe Theatre in California. Daniel Maccabee wins a 5-way junior heavyweight bout. He beats Ben Carter, Aramis, Lee Moriarty and Ren Narita in 11:42, submitting Narita with an abdominal stretch. Narita with a 27, by far the weakest link in the match. Maccabee, Moriarty all both doing quite well. Aramis doing well there, as is Ben Carter for someone who's so young into his career. This show gets off to a strong start. The match gets the crowd buzzing, and a lot of good wrestling there. You know, you've got two good young high flyers in Aramis and Ben Carter. Maccabee and Moriarty, two good technicians exchanging holds and strikes, and then you've got young Lai and Ren Narita there mixing in a bit of this, a bit of that. Match number 2 gets a 44 as, ladies and gentlemen, the Aussies are back and Mick Moretti the Rapscallion battles Brody King, but the Californian gets the victory in just shy of 13 minutes, pinning Moretti with the Gonzo Bomb. King getting a 55, far higher than Moretti's 33, albeit Moretti was off of his game. The match gets the crowd hot up, that's good stuff. It wasn't the best match, but it could have been worse. Another big win for Brody King, whose momentum just keeps rolling hard, like it's the Undertaker's early 2000s entrance theme. We follow this up with a 41 where an bout that was very disappointing and a bout that had subpar wrestling a little heat. Caveman Ugg returns to California. He defeats Blake Christian in 12:29. He gets the win with a Splash Mountain's Edge. Big, decisive, definitive victory there for the big Aussie man. Blake Christian gave it his all, but it was quite honestly a David versus Goliath-esque match. He couldn't match Caveman Ugg's power. Caveman Ugg could pretty much keep up with Christian for speed and agility and athleticism, and in the end, Ugg's power got him the victory. A 66 is up next. What about? Is an about that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Fred Yehai and Tony Deppen win again. They defeat the Mexican pairing of Black Taurus and Laredo Kid in 15 minutes and 23 seconds, with Fred Yehai submitting Laredo Kid to a Koji clutch. That feels loud. A big win there for Yehai and Deppen there. Yehai with a fantastic performance, an excellent wrestler is Fred Yehai, quite underutilized in the North American independent wrestling circuit in my humble opinion. And yeah, a big win for Yehai, good work from Tony Deppen. Laredo Kid and Black Taurus both doing solid as well. A huge 66 rated match, and they, as a result of their recent victories, they will challenge the Motor City Machine Guns tomorrow night at All-Star Weekend Night 2. Next up we get a 63 when about that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Flamita battles Jonathan Gresham, but in 15 minutes John Gresham gets the submission victory. Flamita gave it his all, but in the end he got caught coming off the ropes. Gresham caught his flailing leg, turned it into an excellent STF submission. In the end, Flamita had no choice but to submit to John Gresham, and has Gresham maybe just earned himself another match against Bandito? He's desperate to get the World Heavyweight Championship. He needs that belt, and he could be one step closer to taking it. Ace 62 is up next, where speaking of the champ, he teams with fellow Mexican Dragon Lee as they defeat Chris Dickinson and Jordan Grace in 14-12 when Bandito pinned Grace with a Revolution Fly. Dickinson with a 53 there, quite a bit better than Grace's lowly 44. Bandito and Dragon Lee both performing very well as Dragon Lee returns his first appearance in 7 months since Battle of Los Angeles. A big night for both Bandito and Dragon Lee in terms of in-ring performances as their momentum rolls on. We then see a 61 where in your main event it's Chris Hero, it's Masato Tanaka, and in an excellent wild brawl, the Japanese Masato Tanaka defeats Chris Hero of course the United States of America in 13-19 with a complete dust, and the crowd was completely shocked. Everyone expected a win for Hero here tonight, but the veteran brawler Masato Tanaka defeated the veteran technician who can also brawl in Chris Hero. Hero with a 72, the performance of the night, but Masato's 43, it was low because of his lack of popularity here. A fantastic wrestler is Tanaka. Masato gets the victory, and then after the match, out comes Brody King. He shoves past Chris Hero and he issues a challenge to Masato Tanaka. Tanaka's holding his shoulder, he's holding his arm, it's a bit hurt, but he accepts Brody King's challenge. When have you ever seen Masato Tanaka back out of a fight? Never. So tomorrow night, we already know that we have Brody King against Masato Tanaka. We already know that we have the machine guns against Deppen and Yehai. What else will we have for you tomorrow night? Find out, ladies and gentlemen, in just one moment. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, night 2 of All-Star Weekend 15. We kick things off with Daniel Maccabee pinning Red Narita in just shy of 12 minutes in front of 592 people at the Globe Theatre. He defeats him with an on-trap German suplex. Strong stuff from Daniel Maccabee there. The veteran pins the young lion, getting a 60 individual performance there as Maccabee. 2 wins in this episode for him as the 35-year-old Canadian builds up some momentum. Next up, we see a 55 rated match. Isn't about that had decent wrestling but little heat. Black Taurus teams with Laredo Kid as Mexico beats Australia's Caveman Uggan Mick Moretti in 15-15 when Laredo puts Moretti away with the 630. Laredo, the star performer of the match, the 2 Aussies not being able to hold their own end of the bargain just yet. However, of course, these are guys that have been here for pretty much every episode. Ugg and Moretti haven't had that privilege. The Aussies haven't been here every episode, so we need to build their popularity up before they can match the heights that the Mexicans are pulling. Although, to be fair, guys like Bandito, Flamita, Dragon Lee, they're getting 3 of the best performances of anyone on our roster. Next up, a 48 rated bout is in a decent match. Brody King pins Masato Tanaka in 11:40 with the Gonzo Bomb. A big win for Brody. Of course, Masato was holding his shoulder at the end of last night's event. It was a bit taped up, it was a bit banged up. Brody King saw that as a target and he defeated Masato Tanaka, the man that Chris Hero couldn't last night. And we know that there's a bit of anger and animosity between Brody and Hero over the last 3 months. Next up, Chris Hero defeats Lee Moriarty in 1742, a match that I would refer to as one of the very few dream matches in American indie wrestling today. Hero defeats him by stoppage. Moriarty could not continue. Hero knocked him out with a rolling elbow. He pulled Moriarty up to his feet, dropped him with a phenomenally brutal pile driver. It made the front row grimace, and then Hero just mounts Moriarty, not in that way, you dirty fuckers, and he rains elbows into the back of the skull of Moriarty, and our referee, Mr. Justin Borden, has to call for the bell. He's like Herb Dean in UFC back in the day. He runs over, he pushes Hero away, calls for it, it's done. Joe Rogan gets up and it is all over. Lee Moriarty is out cold. Hero wins. But you know when you see a phenomenal knockout in the UFC, oftentimes the fighter will climb the cage. They'll sit on the top of this cage, raise their arms and go, woo, yeah! And the fans all go, oh, yeah! These fans were stunned into silence at what they had just seen. They hadn't seen this side of Hero since the 2000s. Chris Hero, to be fair, he was this guy in NXT UK, but who the fuck actually watches NXT UK? No one. Chris Hero, he gets up, he takes a microphone, and he says, "Fuck Brody King. I want that bitch one-on-one." Chris Hero came out. He was pissed off that he lost to Masato Tanaka last night. He was even more annoyed when Brody King shoved him away, disrespect to one of the legends of the independent circuit. Brody King may very well be the best heavyweight in PWG, but he hasn't done half of what Chris Hero's done. There was no respect. Hero took that as a slap in the face. And then right before Hero's match, Brody beats Tanaka after Hero had already weakened him. Brody didn't beat a 100% Masato Tanaka. He beat an 82% at best Masato Tanaka. Hero has to fight, and he fights. He takes out his anger on Moriarty, but Chris Hero's an alpha male. He's a badass. He's a knockout artist. He's not happy with the stoppage performance because that implies he was stopped. He was ruthless, but he wasn't finished yet. He wants Brody King. And just like he wasn't finished with Moriarty tonight, he ain't finished with his vendetta against Brody King. Next up, we have a 65-win tag team action. Your world heavyweight champion Bandito gets a 76 as he's pinned by Jonathan Gresham via roll-up in 15:32. Jordan Grace again, by far the weakest link of the match, but that's not a slight when you're in there with probably America's best technician and arguably the hottest wrestler in all of North America and Bandito right now. Flamito, a great young high flyer in his own right. The match gets the crowd hotter, a fantastic bout. Jordan Grace and John Gresham get a big victory there, defeating one of the best teams in the company. I say that, we've only got 4 fucking teams. But 2 of them will fight in our main event for Tag Team Gold. Up next, I believe it's our semi-main event. More high flying is in a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Benjamin Carter was defeated by Dragon Lee in 9:58 with an Operation Dragon. The former IWGP Jr Heavyweight Champion Dragon Lee getting an 82 to Ben Carter's 40. And now look, I know that Ben Carter doesn't have the popularity that Dragon Lee has, but if you look, right, where's it say? High spots. Are you telling me that that man is half of the high spot guy than Dragon Lee is? It's Ben fucking Carter, man. He's class at high spots. This game's dependence on popularity to get a good in-ring performance is sometimes a bit frustrating. But next we have our main event of the evening. It's a long one. The longest match of the series. Fred Yehai and Tony Deppen, 2 junior heavyweights who grew up watching their opponents, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, 2 excellent competitors who kind of helped pave the way for guys like Deppen, for guys like Yehai. Who will win? Who will walk out of the Globe Theatre tonight as World Tag Team Champions? Can the Guns retain for a 4th time? Can Deppen and Yehai win the gold, beating one of the best independent teams of all time? In your 66 rated main event, in a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, the Motor City Machine Guns defeated Fred Yehai and Tony Deppen in 37-23 when Shelley submitted Deppen to a Border City stretch to retain the gold for the 4 times. How was Chris Sabin so much worse than everyone else? He's great. I don't understand that. But anyways, the story of the match was Deppen and Yehai having to revert to technical wrestling because Shelley can keep up with them technically. Sabin can't quite do that. They know that they can't out-team the Guns. Nobody can out-team the Guns. The Young Bucks, even they can't really team the Guns. And in the end, the Machine Guns get the win because they worked on them. They wore them down, and eventually Yehai and Deppen, they crumbled because there's only so many submissions that you can go for. There's only so many attacks you can make, whereas the Guns, they have a plethora of creative offense in their arsenal. Has there ever been a modern team that has been quite as creative as the Guns? Absolute dynamos, dynamic competitors that are untouchable, they are unparalleled. And in the end, they got Fred Yehi down. Shelley locked Deppen in the Border City stretch, and Deppen had no choice but to tap. He was shouting Fred's name. Yehi couldn't quite get to him, and in the end, Deppen had to tap as Yehi watched on. Deppen saved Yehi multiple times. Yehi couldn't save Deppen when he was needed, and in the end, the machine guns stand tall. We get a 64 there. This increases our popularity in one region. These are the three that we will praise tonight. And that leaves us going into May of 2021, where up next, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you Mystery Vortex. It was the first episode of the series last August. We're bringing it back now. It's going to be a big one. There's a huge World Heavyweight Championship bout planned. And not only do we have that, but we have a pretty big return planned too. We also have a humongous debut. Someone will step foot inside the Globe Theatre for the first time in their career, and they will be joined by their brother-in-arms, their best friend, their tag team partner, and they will go after Alex Shelley. And they will go after Chris Sabin for those PWG World Tag Team titles. Who will it be? Find out very shortly in what will be episode 9 of our Guerrilla Warfare TW series. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do leave your suggestions of who